It's your man Anna Wood coming back to you. True to the Game videos, and today I'm going to be getting my just comeuppance as Samwise 7 RPG Tim is going to interview me and put me in the position of having to ask the tough question. Now this is a comfortable chair, but today it might not be so comfortable. I might be sweating a little bit. I might have to answer things I don't want to talk about. But I'm here and I'm going to be open to this interview in any shape, form, or fashion that it dictates. Tim, take it away, baby.
Alright, this is Tim, and I'm going to talk to this punk-ass bitch, Anna Wood, about what he likes about gaming. And my first question for this man in his hot seat, and hopefully his ass will hurt after these questions are done, is what was your first game, and do you still enjoy that game, or have you moved on past it?
First game I played when I was 10. My punk ass did enjoy it then, but it was basically kind of similar to what Meta Rockwell talked about, just some generic crap. We basically, one guy named Damien, I think Mojica was his last name, came into Mount Carmel. I was up in Catholic school in 5th grade, and during like recess, we would play, and he made these pre-made characters. Now I was a lizard man, and I had this like long sword with like 2 short swords on the side of it. All the characters are made by him, but I always thought that was tight. I have a special love and place in my heart for Lizard Man. I want to play a Lizard Man again soon. It was basically just Dungeons and Dragons with using 6-sided dice and almost no concept of what to do. Like, you would get hit points. When you killed something, you would take its hit points, and you would just lose hit points, like you could never get them back otherwise. The first, so that's my first experience. It was basically Dungeons and Dragons, just a really effing terrible version of Dungeons and Dragons. Love Dungeons and Dragons still. Love the fantasy games. So there is my submission to you, Tim.
All right, that was a terrible answer. Next question.
Sorry.
Who introduced you into the hobby? Your mama?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't my mama, Tim. It was the same guy, Damien. I think it was Mojica in 5th grade, and then I found my first game store when I was 15, sophomore in high school. I became friends with this other guy who was like into heavy metal. Big shocker there, you know, all the metal. And his name was Damon Baker. Yeah, Damien and a Damon, oddly enough, yeah. And if you know professional wrestling, he looked like Knobs from the Nasty Boys, the blonde-headed one, just the same haircut, just all kinds of white trash. And he told me about this game store. I was like, there's something like that? And I went down there, and the first thing that immediately occurred to me is, how do they make any possible money doing this? And the guy running the place named Scott Tippleman, he did cocaine, baby. And he had a fingernail. His nail here was literally that long, and just a, you know, that kind of gimmick he worked on. But that's my basic, real introduction into consistent gaming. Next question.
Alright, so I guess that was a fair enough question, or a fair enough answer. What is your favorite genre and why?
Horror. I like horror. I think it's universal. You can run it in a fantasy game. You can run it as a back plot. Particularly the Lovecraftian horror, the dealing with the aspect of religion being against you. You know, and we saw that, of course, also in Robert E. Howard's Conan. So he was a big advocate of Lovecraft. It would be that the gods are against you, so you could just raise up it and fight against those gods. So I really like that in a D&D setting. Not necessarily to say fight Cthulhu, because that is bad to but to fight against those minor forces, those deific forces where the foul priests are against them. I think that's Warhammer has a lot of that sort of tone to it too. I'd also like, you know, running that through a modern day setting and being able to, because I deeply immerse myself in my character, and being able to allow myself to become scared in a game is just wonderfully fun to me. So either as a player or game master, it's going to be horror.
Let's see. Well, that answer reeked like an outhouse. How about the next one? What was your worst gaming experience?
Was it worst gaming experience?
Yeah, what was your worst gaming experience?
Worst. You mean,
Player or GM, that's fine.
In terms of play that I found the worst, or like something that made me the angriest?
Whatever floats your boat.
Okay. Well, I'm running a game up in Northern Virginia. The kids, you might want to turn this part off, because this is adult-oriented here. I run a game in Northern Virginia. I run the game for about a year and a half. Now, one of the players is moving off, so I had to do a huge amount of condensing of stuff and change the plot around in advance time. I did loads of work. I do lots of work on my game. I don't just show up and just run something. I do excruciating amounts of work, and I'm working on it and having to revise things, cut stuff, edit stuff out so I can condense down to trying to finish the campaign on this deadline of this guy just leaving basically forever. And I wanted to finish all this cool stuff up. Now, this pissed me off tremendously, and a lot of people go, "Why would that piss you off?" And I'll explain the whole thing. Now, the two guys were playing, Bo Burns and Ross Ball. I like both guys, great guys, great role players. And there was another guy playing, Chris, who was more superfluous, but it was largely just because he kind of came along too late in the game. There were Bo, whatever slut he was dating at the time, and Aura, that was the name of Ron's wife. She's a redhead, cute girl. The two of them all night are trying to get attention. Now, to preface this, again, kids, turn this off right now, or the two girls going upstairs, so they're having sex upstairs. Very annoying because it's distracting the guys, and this is not really something I care about because my wife and I did the A to Z on that, everything. And that same night I could have gone out and been doing that kind of partying, so I was there to game, and I spent a lot of time trying to work and craft so we could finish this game up. And it was a game that never had to be finished, which always pisses me off. And I was lividly furious. But we're playing. They're distracted the whole time, trying to run upstairs or whatever. And then the girls come downstairs after having sex. They're completely naked, and they've been like in a hot tub or whatever too. So they're coming down, just all naked, and just completely ruining the game. Because the guys are completely distracted. Minds are off focus. And very, very annoying. I just about frenzied in the game because it completely destroyed the whole thing with the amount of effort and energy and work that I put into it to try to bring this game. It was really a great game. The players wrote a great job, and like I said, we were almost 2 years into it at that point, and I was trying to finish up on a deadline, and they were just trying to get annoying attention, as I've talked about the girlfriend before, and they weren't gamers. Two hot naked chicks running around in the middle of your D&D game probably sounds like a fantasy to most people. But like I said, to me, I mean, I could have been out the same night. Me and my wife could have brought in a girl, and I could have done that myself. And that to me was just very extraordinarily disrespectful. And those guys got flipped on, and not in the kind of nice way that I do yell at people sometimes, and more than once. And they were out there like almost crying, apologizing, and so forth. It was not a nice scene, and that was the end of that game. That I was livid. I was mad for like months, like furiously mad, because like I said, I put so much time. I mean, days worth of time into cutting down and reorganizing a game that I already spent enormous amounts of time, hundreds of hours of work had already put into the game in terms of designing it. I built the entire world. I built culture and customs and religions. I had 750 some different gods in my game that I created from the ground up and drew correlations between other real world gods. I had all the city states and the politics and a tremendous amount of work. All three of the players, this is the best game they'd ever played. And the fact that it ended on such a poor note just made me furious. I mean, that was one of the few things that really killed some energy off for me for a good long time. So that is what pissed me off the most of anything I've ever done in gaming.
All right, well, that answer did not suck. So the next question will be, what does your hot significant other think of gaming?
My significant other is hot. I don't think I've ever actually had her in a video. Man, my wife is actually very hot. You guys, maybe at some point you guys will get to see her. She has gamed with me before. At very first she was kind of the girlfriend just coming along, and my wife is really beautiful and objectively beautiful. She's my wife, so I'm saying she's beautiful. I met her in high school. We've been dating a long time. We were hooked up a few times before that, and we were married almost in July 19th. We were married 10 years, and I got married when I was 24. She was 22. She would kind of come to the games at first and just kind of sit there and play a little bit, but barely kind of interact. And at first she was kind of shy. She's not now. She's a university professor, and just very didn't really do very much. And then the more she started getting into it, the more she'd do. And she's played really excellent style. Like most females, she likes World of Darkness better. She ran a mage game, started 2004. We still play periodically, and it's absolutely wonderful because You know, like you could see, you could incorporate all kinds of wonderful romantic and sexual elements with somebody that you're involved with into a game. So that adds tremendous more level of it. As you can see, I'm a very strong-willed personality person, so I'm not the kind of guy that gets changed or someone's going to say, well, you're not going to do what you want. It's just, my wife is very careful to pick her battles, and that's one she knows she would never pick. She knows I love gaming. Her and the kid basically would just leave on Fridays from most of the day and come back when it's time for her to go to bed, and she's very supportive. Very, like, of every girl I've seen anyone have, she's the most supportive I've seen of me being in a hobby, and I love my wife a lot.
All right, next question. Do you have any gaming regrets? Something that really makes your skin crawl?
Can you clarify just a little bit?
As a GM, have you ever done anything that you wish you could go back and undo?
Well, there's players I wish I hadn't let come over. I don't really regret my actions. If the question is, do I regret my actions? No, I don't. And they deserve them. They deserve more. I regret not being meaner and not being harsher and being too nice.
Fair answer. Have you ever sold a game that you wish you'd had back?
Yeah. I sold a bunch of my second edition D&D stuff. I kind of wish I had my second edition Planescape stuff back because that's kind of awesome.
All right. What kind of personalities, kind of like monkey-ass fools that have clashed with your GMing style? What kind of personalities do they have?
Well, monkey-asses that will clash with my style. I am almost uniformly described as an elitist by people who like to sit around and roll dice. You got to bring it in my game. If you don't bring it, I'm not even need to say anything. I can just sit here because my players will eat you alive because they expect you to bring it. You'll get buried and kind of pushed off to the side. You need to pay attention. In my game, you will not get it unless you pay attention. I run off the details and the minutia, and if you aren't paying attention with your notebook, writing stuff down and making correlations, you're only going to play for the surface game. It's really all about assembling the pieces and coming up with the real esoteric detail level of what I'm doing. And if you can vibe with that, if you can bring a character, if you don't run the same character every time, if your characters are different and it's not you sitting there, it's a unique personality that you've described, you're going to do very well in my game. If you don't live up to that criteria, you're going to get joked and you're probably not going to have the best of times. As I do play the hot hand, and that's how it's going to be.
All right, Jabroni, what was your worst thing that ever happened to one of your characters?
Worst thing that ever happened to one of my characters. Other than having to sit through some utterly dreadful games, what's the worst thing? It's a good question. I've had characters get killed before. Although it was rare.
Perhaps something worse than death.
I had one character get his face completely ripped off. Face and one of his eyes ripped off by a troglodyte that I fought, and I ended up putting a bag over his head and cutting a hole in it, and I'd wear that like Friday the 13th 2 style Jason gimmick for like a while, and eventually I got like this mask like WWF style Warlord used to wear, but over like one eye, and then on the island they had emeralds, so I took like an emerald and fashioned it into an eye. I had someone else do it, but that was a pretty horrible thing. It was great. I love to sell those kind of things. Something bad on that character doesn't bother me. I don't like the characters necessarily dying because I can't play them anymore. But I roll with it and try to make the best of it. But that's probably the worst thing that's happened to a character I've played.
All right, yeah, losing someone's face. Yeah, that sounds pretty damn bad.
That's
all right,
bad.
Last question.
It's like this much of my face.
Last question. Why do I suck as a YouTuber?
Oh God, I don't think I have enough room left in the video to answer that one, Tim. All right, okay, guys, this is going to be a 3-parter, and. Gosh, why do you suck, Tim?
Why do I suck as a YouTuber?
Why do you suck? God, I just don't know where to start. Well, you're an unmitigated, unrepentant piece of trash. That's the first one. You're a whiny bastard. You're a mealy-mouthed little maggot. And overall, just a horrendous person that probably has very poor hygiene and personal skills. I'm wondering myself when I watch your videos if that's like some sort of cardboard box you actually live in and you've sort of constructed some other stuff around it. I like to see more of a full view to see what we're dealing with. I hear things going by that sound like cars in the background sometimes in your video. And I mean, you just seem like a very deplorable person. But to completely honestly answer the question, I couldn't tell you, Tim. I've never watched one of your videos.
Alright, so I guess that'll conclude today's questioning. Thank you for your time. It was kind of a waste of mine, but we'll have that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate it, and that was very fun. Hopefully, at least some of you have as much fun as we did with that.